We'll create a file called class1.js. In class1.js, first basic, write a class to get idea how we can create a class and how we can run it. So every class will start with a class name, class keyword. And name of the class can be anything. So they start with uppercase. Like suppose we wrote for user. Now under this user class, we can write multiple functions, multiple variable. According to need, we will implement it. Now under this class, whatever the content you are going to write, whichever the functions you are going to write, you cannot call directly. You have to call with the help of object. So we will see below how to create object. How to create object of a class in JS. How to create object of a class in JavaScript. Now below you will write, while creating the object, we will use the keyword called const so that the value of object will not change or will not modify. Const obj1 equal to new keyword is required. It used for the memory allocation reallocation purpose, and after that name of your class. Name of your class. So object 1 become the object of user class. obj1 is now object of user class. Object slash object will be okay. Object of user class. Object in the sense you can say in the term of another word if you want to can use called representative. Instead of calling the class name, we are calling their copy. So this object one become the representative of this user class. Wherever the object one will go, it will always represent the user class. Now in user class, whatever you write, all will be accessible through their object, through their representative. So we'll write a function called home equal to pat arrow key we can use. Function keyword is not required here. Console.log welcome home. Next, about console.log about us. Next, console. One more function called contact. Console.log contact us. So three functions we wrote inside this class. Three functions we wrote inside this class. Those functions now you can't call directly. While calling, you have to call the object.function name. Object plus function name we need to call, then only we can access. Okay, now let's go next. We can call that function here obj1 dot. It will show directly function name that we can select. obj2 dot, your function name. We can select here obj2, obj1 dot, not obj2 dot, because object we have only one. Now obj1 dot, next one, contact. So all the functions of this class will be accessible like this. Object dot function name, object dot function. Okay. Check in console directly, not a space, file name, class name. It should print all the functions from the particular class. Okay, next, this output should go to the browser, which we wrote here in console. This has to come in the browser. It has to deal with the browser. We'll create next file, class2.html and class2.js. Two files, one HTML file and one JavaScript file. Create two files next. If it has no any error, then you can create the next file, class2.html and class2.js. I will share this code in chat also. This is one structure of the class. We will be writing the notes for all keywords. What is the use? Why we call that? Okay, so this code is in your chat. The functions we have written home, about, contact. These functions are called a member function. These functions are called a member function. And inside the class, if you create any variable, that will be called a member variable. Variable will be called as a member variable. And function will be called as a member function. After that, inside this class, you will find two things. One will be variable, another will be function. Next, variable and function will be called assets of the class. So question will be where to create the variable. So for that, we have to use a lifecycle function of JavaScript that is called constructor that we can create in the next file, class2.js file. So home is not a function, it's called member function. About is also not a normal function, it's called a member function. To access this member function, you cannot call directly, you have to call with the help of which keyword? Function, object keyword. No need of function. Function keyword is not required. Next, after that, when we have gone through the this one type of function, that time you see we created the three type of function. One was called an anonymous, another one was called as a fat arrow. Correct? So you can see here I have written called late. Error is coming. I wrote called const. Error is coming. After that, Let me write call fire. Error is coming. Correct. So those three is not required here. Okay. Someone have asked something. Right, next. That is called class2.js and one more file class2.html. Class2.html, class2.js. So first we'll complete the JS file, class.js file, class2.js file. Now you will write under the class2 name of the class. We can write call something company. Oh, I'm writing in HTML file. Right. Next, after that, come inside called const object2 equal to new name of your class. That is called company. Name of the class called company. Under the company class, create a constructor. Constructor is a predefined function of JavaScript. Even it is called as a lifecycle function. Constructor you can use to define some variables, global variables, member variable that will be able to access throughout the class with the help of this keyword. So this keyword I'll write here. We will write the notes about this also. This dot address. This dot address equal to something next after that this dot mobile next after that this dot email something any email ID you can write. Next after that city. What is the use of this keyword? This is called as a object of current class. This keyword is called as a it represent object of current class. We will discuss much on that, but again, first we are creating a variable under the constructor. So as soon as you will call this class, company class, as soon as your company class will get called, automatically constructor will execute. The first constructor only will execute from this class. Whenever you call anything from this class, whenever you execute this line, when you create the object of this particular class to access anything from this class, automatically this will execute. Which one? Constructor. Constructor no need to call manually. As soon as the object of the class will get created, automatically constructor will execute and the variable you have defined using the this keyword all will get the value at the time of execution of the class in the beginning itself. So constructor get execute automatically and when it get execute at the beginning of the class. So in JavaScript we have functions. Once we are coming under the React, we'll get some function. In that we will see like some function execute automatically according to the code flow. Line number one function will execute automatically. After line number 3, another function will execute automatically. So those functions that get called automatically according to flow of the code or according to need, we will not call that function, just will pass the parameter. We will not define that function anywhere. We'll call the function and then automatically according to code flow, the function will get executed. Those function will be called a life cycle function. So for example, in this file you have constructor. You are not going to call constructor anywhere. Constructor will execute automatically. But when it will execute, as soon as the object of the class will get created, constructor will execute. So in this file, constructor will become a life cycle function. Now when the constructor execute automatically, what we will do of constructor? So definitely when the constructor execute, we define the variable in the beginning. Once the variable is defined, further we can keep using. Now, so constructor will be, we will be writing the note saying like constructor is called life cycle function of JavaScript. It get called automatically as soon as the object of the class get created, and it used to define the variables, global variable of the class. Okay, or it used to define the member variable of the class that you are going to access throughout the class anywhere. Okay, now I'll write here call a function called home console, not console, console y we are writing again. We will write a variable called, we will write a variable called msg. Inside we'll write h1 welcome home, close the h1. Next, after that, you will call a function from the class this dot print data that is not exist. We have to write our own function. Inside, you will pass the MSG. This dot print data. So what it representing? It representing within this class, there should be a function called print data that you are calling here. Without class, you can call directly print data. But inside the class, when you are calling, you have to represent, yes, this function belongs to same class. So we wrote here this dot print data. This keyword represent here the assets of current class. Now I'll write here call print data. Under print data, you receive call data, and then you will write below document dot get element by ID, which ID is called container we can use. That we have not defined anywhere. We are going to write in HTML. Container dot inner HTML equal to that parameter as a data. So when we call the home function will create a variable. Inside it will hold some value, and that value will be sent to a function of current class that is called print data. Under the print data, some content will come that will hold under the data variable, and from data variable it will be sending to the where container using inner HTML. So this print data will become as a reusable function. You will use again and again and again. Whenever you want print anything, we will call the function called print data. Okay. In React also we have call React provide the component reusability. So in the term of React, your function will be called as a component. What it will call as a component. Now, one function you can use multiple times. There one component you can use multiple times. So one function we wrote like print data. Print data we call to print the home data also. Print data will call to print the about data also. Correct? So this function will become as a reusable function. Right? This function become as a reusable function. Right call address or full address, or better we can write about, and under the about we can print the address. About, inside the about we can write a variable data equal to h1 about us, close the h1. Next, after that, data plus equal to we can write this dot address in one p tag. In one p tag, we can write this dot address. So it will print the address. Close the p tag also. Then address. After the address, we can print the mobile number. This dot mobile and this dot city and email. Address this dot mobile, this dot email, and this dot which one? College and city. So two functions we got. One is called home, another one is called about. About will call here again call print data. Under print data, it will pass the okay. So this function is ready. About function. Right. Next, after this, we need to come to the HTML file. In this file, you see one place. When you are calling the print data inside the class, we are calling with the help of this. If you want to call this print data outside, how we'll call? Object2 dot print data. Suppose if I go here and if you want to call the print data function, how we can call? We cannot call like this dot. We cannot call print this data. And we can assume I am sending some value, the parameter. So this dot print data, here also you have print. But at this place, it will throw the error. It will say this is undefined. Reason is this is not exist out of the class. This will be exist only within the class. So to access the same function outside, we have to use this one. Object2. Object2 dot print data. So you saw when you are calling a function outside, you are calling with the help of object. Same function when you are calling inside, you are calling with the help of this. So indirectly, what is the role of this? The role of this is called an object, but it will not exist out of the class. It exists only within the class. Okay. The definition of this will be, it represents the object of current class, but only inside the class, not outside of the class. Outside of the class, the role of this keyword will be played by object. Okay. That's what I have used a very simple word called as a representative of the class. So your object is going to represent about the class. What content you have inside the class, all the content will be able to access through the object. We can access by the name of class also, but our function name should be static. We will create example and then that also will say we can create a function as a static. We can start the function with a static keyword. That function you can access without object. You can call directly class name dot function name. Okay, so write it. And so this is just for example to understand the activity of this operator. So if you have written the HTML.js file, let me know. We have to move to another file, JavaScript file. Not HTML, JS. Okay, then come to the HTML file. In HTML file, in head section, a script tag will be used, and in src property, we will call that file, that is class2.js. We will use the body tag. Inside body tag, we can write one h1 JavaScript simple class subject. Okay. Now write a button below home. Write one more button about us. On click equal to obj2 dot home function. We need to call the function only, but with the help of object. Next to that, we required a place where we can display this content. Division id equal to container. Right. Now we'll run which file? class2.html file. Button will come home about both the data coming from the class file easily. Printing. Error. In print data function, print data we have called here document.getElement by id container.inner html equal to data is okay. Now what error it says? How you run in HTML now? This is print data. Okay. Another possibility of error is here in HTML file id equal to container is also fine. container. Here in JavaScript file container. This error will come container. Now matching this error. Whenever we click anywhere, right? So printing now. Earlier error was coming as a null. Null, something like this. It was here. Save it. Cannot set the property of something to null. Means with the help of print data, you are trying to locate element called a container. If container found, then the value will be 1. Container not found, the value is what? Null. And unavailable container, you are sending the data to unavailable container, right? So because of that, that error will. So whenever anything, anywhere in console says setting the property to null, right? Undefined property setting value to null, that represents the problem in HTML. While picking the value, element is ID is mismatch, or while assigning the value, ID is mismatch. So get element by ID function is for that purpose only. First find if exist, then give the data or take the data. If the source is not available, you are sending the data, then also null. Source is not exist, you are trying to pick the data, then also null. Okay, so now, so hope it's appear for everyone, right? You are able to run like this. JavaScript file, most of the time, it will execute in your browser directly. Okay. It's no need of server every time. When we need server, only in 2 conditions. If you are using the Fetch API or you are using the map, this one called Ajax. When we use Ajax, when we communicate from front end to back end, then we need server. And another case, when we use the fetch function while communicating from the front end to back end, then you need live server. Okay. Else JavaScript is only going to run in the browser directly. No need of any server. Okay. Now in this file, we will do some input and output now. So basic static content you are able to print. You created the variable and those variable we are able to access. So in class 2 file only, class2.js file, we can write few points below that will be helpful. Okay, so you can write a multi-line comment. First, when we have created the class, that company class, that start here, company class is ending here. Inside this company class, what we found now and what we wrote till now. We wrote the variables and we wrote the functions. Some functions are reusable function, example print data. Some functions will get called with the help of object. Some function is getting called with the help of this. Then variables what you created, those variables we are able to access inside the class with the help of again same this dot particular variable that also represent the assets of current class. Okay. So what is the what should be the normal definition for the class? What will be the normal definition for the constructor? How we can explain this keyword? How we can explain someone called what is the object? Correct. So those few keywords we have, we can write a note here. Okay. So when we say class, I'm not writing from internet definition as what you saw inside this class. You have the function and you have the variables, right? Functions and variables we have. So we can say a class is collections of member function. You can also call it a method, member method, and member variables and member variables. All the variables that we define under the constructor and we use throughout the class, those all will be called a member variable, and those functions we write from our side inside the class all will be called a member method or member function. So we can write here another line, member method or function. What is that? All the user defined functions, all the user defined functions of a class. Whichever the functions is created by developer, those all functions will be called a member function or member method. Right. Next we will write member variable. Those variables get defined inside constructor using this operator. Even we can write member variables can be accessed throughout the class as well as out of the class. Member variables can be accessed inside and outside of a class. Inside we can access using this operator. Inside we can access using this operator, and outside we can access using object of class. We have seen only how to access inside. We have not seen how to access outside. The member variable we have seen how to access inside, how to see access out, how to access outside. We have not written that. Maybe in coming example, we can write that also. So those variable that you have defined under the constructor using this operator. After that, member variable can be accessed inside and outside of the class. As after that, inside we can access using this operator. Outside we can access using the object of a class. So what is this company? You can see you have a member variable called mobile. Inside the class we are accessing with the help of this dot mobile. But same mobile, if you want to access outside, you cannot call directly. You have to write like this. You have to write obj 2 dot obj 2 dot this one college mobile. So when we access inside with the help of this, when we access outside with the help of object. Okay, the same thing you have written below in 3 lines. Okay. Next, after this, write the next one, call it a object, or maybe you can write constructor. We can say it is predefined function of JavaScript. Function of JavaScript. Predefined function of JavaScript. It is also called member. No, it is also called life cycle function of JavaScript object oriented programming. It is also called life cycle function of JavaScript object oriented programming. Now inside constructor, what you have done today, we have defined the member variables, correct? So we can write the same thing below. It used to, or first we can write it get call automatically while creating object of the class. It get call automatically while object creation of a class. It get call automatically while object creation of a class. Now when it is getting call automatically, we can utilize that. Then we can write this used to define member variables for the class. This used to define member variable for current class. For current class. This used to define member variable for current class. Okay, now next line we can write for the object. Object of class. It is called instance of a class. Or we can write it is instance of a class. Of a class. Right. Next we have one more operator called this operator. This what represent? We can say it called object of current class. Object of current class, but it work only inside. It's called object of the current class. It used to call the member function or member variable inside the class. It used to call member variable and function inside a class. But it work only inside the class. But it work only inside the class. But it work only inside the class. It will not work outside. Okay, so this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 keyword you clear? Class will be collection of member, variable and member function. Constructor is the predefined function of JavaScript hooks. It get called automatically when the object of the class get created, and when it get called automatically while object creation, we can utilize this class to define our member variables. Then member functions, all the functions written by developer is called a member function. Member variables, those variables that we define inside the class, that define under the constructor, using this operator. Object of the class is nothing but representative of the class, instance of a class. What is the use of this keyword? This keyword used to call a member function or member variable inside the class. Correct? It is called object of current class, but you cannot access outside. You have to access only inside. So those few lines you have just added in the few words. Now let's add one more line that is called extends. 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 What is this extends? We can write here. It used to inherit. It used to inherit feature from one class to other class. Inherit feature from one class to other class. It used to inherit feature from one class to other class. That is called as a extends. We have reusability feature inside the class object. We can write a class one time and we can access many times. Now you wrote a function and you are accessing many times. Similar way, we can write a class one time and we can access multiple places in multiple classes. So assume you have feature in one class and you are going to write again similar feature in another class. So question will be why you are rewriting the code? Why can't you extend it? Correct? Why can't you inherit it? Okay, so when we inherit the feature, when we take the feature from one class to other class, when we pass the feature from one class to other class, that is called as a inheritance. And while implementing the inheritance, we require this keyword called as a extends. Class 1 extends class 2. So means class 1 is going to get the feature from class 2. Okay. Next, after this, we need to, let me check. So hope we have written or you are writing. Write it quickly. Okay, so we'll come inside this class and next we can write a function to get the value from browser and another function to print again the value under the browser, input and output. So go here and create one more member variable, this dot service. This dot service equal to array. We can add one or two service. Marketing, two service we added. Now come down, write a function call our service. We can write a variable.
So our service capital is or
Our service, it is the name of a function. Service is the name of a member variable, correct? Our service is a function name. So you can, if you want to follow the camel case, you can write like this. S will be capital. Okay. Or without capital also if you are writing is a function name, it will work. It will work. So I don't follow a lot of camel case. Reason is what? People will do so much of mistake. Okay. So suppose I write service is capital. In your case, you may write S as a small and you will say not working. Code is correct only. Problem is of. So once time will come, automatically you will start following the camel case. First knowledge, let it come. Rule regulation will follow next step. Okay. But where compulsory we need to follow that something we have to write. Example, class name start with a capital. Writing, right? So that should be a proper habit. Class name must start with a uppercase. Similar way in React we have function writing. Function must start with uppercase. That's called component. Where in React? So there will follow that rule. Okay. But here you can write a small capital, both will work. Now data equal to, we can write here h1 our services, close the H1. Next, after this, we have to run the map function to read the data from this dot service dot map, name of the service as well as index. Data plus equal to p tag open close. Name we can write here, and p tag again we can close it. You can apply a class here. Services. And once the loop is over, once the loop is finished, we can call the print data function and pass inside the data variable. Okay, then now we'll go to the HTML file and we'll call this our service on a button click. Okay, so create one more button on button click. Now services on button click, we can call the service function. And button click check, two element is printing. Our services printing two element. can write a small CSS here. What is the class we have follow? Called services. Class name is services. So for this services, we can write here width 20%, text align center, display in a line hyphen block, font hyphen size 50 px. Happening? No. Width become, let's keep only margin 30 pixel. Width I replace with margin. So it will take required width, but the gap will be 30, 60 pixel. It will come in one line, font size will be certain, margin will be certain. Now width is not defined. So according to content length, it will take the size width. According to content length, it will take the width. Okay. Next, after this, so what data is listing? Service. Let me know in chat. Service pages, service function is working. Is it displayed or not? Class is also working similar like function, but class will be the collection of functions. Correct? When we write only function based, then it will be individual function. When you are writing the class, function will be the part of class. Okay, organized way. Okay, all the functions one place inside one class under one control, multiple function. Okay, now right here one text box. Through that we can add some element. We'll use a p tag here. Add new service. Input type equal to text. Input type equal to text. ID equal to new service. Button. Font. Save. Okay. Next, we can come to the that class file, and on button click we will call a function obj2 object2 dot on click is required. Obj2 dot save. Okay, so we can come to the again JS file and we'll write this save function. Obj2 dot save. So you go in the beginning of the class and write here save function. First take the value of text box variable new service document dot get element by id, which id? New service dot value, new service dot value. Next, after that, our array name is this dot service dot push we can do new service, and then we can clear the text box. We can clear the text field, and then we can call again this dot our service to reload the this dot our service to reload the list. To reload the list. So save will happen, list will happen, input output from the class. Okay, done. We can check now. Input output is happening or not. So home is okay, about is also okay, service is coming. Now right here call SEO and save. One more will get added. Right here call something. Logo, design, save, added, employment, get added. The value is going to the array and coming from array, but the array is a member variable. That is a part of your class. So your data is saving inside the array, that is a member variable. Inside the function, save function we are storing, you are pushing inside the class, and under the service you are fetching from the same variable. One place we are pushing in the variable, another place we are fetching from the same variable. Since it is a part of class, easily you can do it. Next, we will work on inheritance. We'll store the data in parent class and we can access in child classes. That we'll spend time tomorrow. Video I'll guide you from today evening, you can access it. Video that